Hey there, YouTubers. I'm gonna do another ramble. Not one of my happy places. It's a different part on the lake, but I figured if you watch enough videos, I always say that. I don't know why I say that. Pretty much people that watch my videos are the ones that watch my videos consistently. But I don't like being on camera. So what I was gonna talk about today is a friend of mine. We were talking, and I think something that's always funny about YouTube is if you know, you go to the RV portions of YouTube, and like everybody else that does it when you're planning, okay, I'm going to get an RV, so I started watching some YouTube stuff. And to me, it is amazing how many people out there think they got all the answers. You know, they'll make a video and they'll tell you the only thing you can do is X, Y, or Z. I'm not that way. I think the most important thing is you have to be your own person. You have to find out what's right for you. I've said this before. When I first started looking, I was going to get a Class C. So I liked the Class C. Why did I choose a Class B? Well, gas mileage was my main thing. Operating costs, day to day, it's going to get better gas mileage, and I'm going to do better. And it's usually just me, so that's enough. Well, and the pets, so that's enough space. You know, I got a couple pictures in here that I'll put in. There's a guy that's here. Look at this rig. Right? He was out there messing with it, and I went and walked by, and he started talking to me, and he was very proud of this setup. And it took a lot for me not to shake my head. You know, he really thought I was impressed, and I wasn't impressed. He said he's longer than is legal for semis. The only thing that can be that long are privately owned vehicles. That setup is 85 feet long. In the back, he's got a workshop, and he's got 2 cars in there. He has a lift to put cars in there. The trailer is long enough and the door is high enough that I could actually fit my Class B in there. He justified it by saying he's full-time, and I'm like, oh, okay. But when I look at that, and I caught myself thinking badly towards that person, and I had to realize he's doing what he needs to do. Who gives a crap what I think? You know, if somebody watches my video and thinks, how the heck can you be in a Class B? You know, thanks for your input, but this is working for me. So that's my suggestion. If you're gonna go to YouTube, if you came here wondering what's the right type of thing, the only way to find out is to look at as many as you can and try to figure out the pros and cons, because every type has its pros and cons. But you have to be your own person. If you want to drive that thing, that 85 foot long of trailer, you know, across the top of there, he's got 5 shrouds at least for air conditioners in there. 5 casings for air conditioners. I wouldn't think there could be 5 air conditioners in there. He's 85 feet long. He said he's like 1,000 pounds under the legal limit for semis. Okay, you know, who am I to judge? So just take what you're going to learn from people on YouTube with a grain of salt, especially me. Anybody that knows what they're talking about knows they don't know what they're talking about. I will give my opinions on things, but very little of what I'm going to talk about with RVs is fact. It's just an opinion. Whatever you turn a key in, whether you're pulling it behind you, you're sitting in the wheel driving what you might be living in, if it makes you happy, you pick the right one. Just choose wisely. That's a long ramble about something that's been rambled about many times, but it's important to be your own person. Also was wondering, I was asked, well, what was it like when you came back from 4 months of being in Key West to the house? And honestly, it was kind of weird, because I'm fortunate in this tiny little... Dude, I'm trying to make a video. He's telling me to shut up. He's got the right to tell me to shut up. This is his house, not mine. But it was kind of weird when I came back because I've gotten used to the small space. 90% of the time I'm fine, but sometimes it drives me crazy. But I want to be outside, like I've said 100 times. It's a bed. For me, it's almost perfect. And then again, there are times that I think if I had a bigger RV, that I would have been a little bit quicker to go full time, because my plan has been to be full time. But I also like having a house. You know, it's kind of cool to have home ground. I guess I can't break that tie. And again, if you go on YouTube or listen to people comment, they'll tell you you're doing it wrong.
I'm really happy that I tend not to get very much of that negativity on my channel.
It goes back to, again, this is tied in. Be your own person. If it's working, do that. For me, I'm really been very happy and still have that little tug to do it full time. But it's hard to give up. For me, it's hard to give up that home space. It's hard to let that go. And it's honestly something I struggle with. And it's not fear-based. It's I guess convenience-based. You know, it's nice to have a house, to keep the things that I don't miss when I'm gone, but for some reason think you gotta keep them. And I think until you're able to change your mindset and do it in a way that you're going to be comfortable with, then go slow. You know. But it was weird to come back. It was weird for the animals too. Darn fishermen breaking up my serenity. It's not serenity when you're talking into a GoPro. But it was weird to come back. And there were times when I was gone that long that I missed the more space, missed having the house. But I think when I got back, I went much quicker to missing what I had in the RV. So, again, it's just when you know what's the right thing to do, that's when you'll do it. I don't like to get too personal, if you've noticed, but when I got divorced, I was having, it's a major life change, which the RV had a lot to do with. And I think a lot of people that are solo RVing, major life change has a lot to do with that. Not all, but many. But I was having some decisions that I was having a really hard time making.
Because I'd already made the big life decision of getting a divorce.
And maybe it's a cop-out. A lot of people on here, if they want to say, again, do the nasty social media thing, they'll say something mean or nasty. But I think if you're not sure of the right decision to make, then don't make the most drastic decision. I was contemplating, I had to sell my boat. I was contemplating doing that. I was thinking about trading my car in. And my whole work situation, which is another video. All those things came up at the same time. And for the largest portion, I tried not to make major decisions right away. So that way, when I finally did make those decisions, I was at peace with them. I had thought them through, which was tough for me because I'm sure it doesn't sound like it, but I'm not that calculated a person. I'm usually much more spontaneous, and I had to give myself conscious thought to carefully weigh my options before leaping in. Again, tying together the same thing of you just be your own person. Do what you think is right. Don't do what other people tell you is right. And I was asked with RVing, see, when I first looked at this, my very first trip in the RV was to a place I had been before. But my whole plan had been that I was going to go to all the places I'd never been, to explore things, because I really do like to do that. But I've also found myself drawn to some places that are familiar, like this place. I've come here every year since I've had the RV, at least for a week. This time it's a month. I considered coming here for the whole season because it's inexpensive, it's quiet, and I like it. And then as the procrastinator that I am, another thing I've been internally fighting with myself is I want to do the big things. I did that video not long ago of where you been, where you want to go, that kind of thing. And I don't think there was hardly anything on somebody's list that didn't sound awesome to me and aren't on my list and things I want to do. But for some reason, I haven't made that big jump yet. Again, I've come to terms with that. I'm all right with it. But sometimes you get drawn to the familiar, you know. My first trip was to Michigan, and we used to have a cottage up there, and we would go twice a year usually up there to the cottage in Michigan, up by Sleeping Bear Dunes, and I loved that place. I wanted to buy property, can't afford it, but I mean, that's some of my best memories were up there. It's my first YouTube video. There's nothing wrong with that. I think actually it's important. I think if you have a place like that, especially from your childhood, I think it's great to go back. Take that time machine, you know? So the familiar is good, but so is the branching out. You know, the biggest branch out was I always wanted to go to Key West, so I went to Key West. And I went 2 winters ago for a week, 10 days, and said, oh, I got to go back. Totally different mindset. And then this winter I did the winter. I still have the main hope of doing Alaska, but to me that is, to do Alaska the way I want to do it, I think I have to come to the decision that I no longer will keep a house. And I will have a room in some family member's basement, or I'll keep like 7 things that I don't still need, you know? But I think that trip, I think mentally I've tied that into the whole being totally full-time. And how you RV, you know, you'll get that too on YouTube. You'll get people making points about, oh, you don't RV the right way, you know? Not just me, and I mean, anybody that makes a video, somebody's going to say you're not doing it the right. You're doing it the right way. You know, if you want to urban camp, live in your RV in a city, that's friggin' awesome. Be true to yourself. If you want to only be in BLM land, be true to yourself. Do whatever you want to do. That's my thought. So, wrapping all that meandering wanderings that of my brain that I never think are of any use, that some people seem to place value in. Hopefully I touched upon a point. And seriously, I don't think there's anybody that's Benjamin Button. I don't think anybody's getting any younger, you know? So whatever way you want to do it, take the baby steps or take a friggin' leap off a dock like this, you know? Do whatever it is you got to do to enjoy yours. If it means watching some YouTube videos for a while to get some ideas, cool. Use them as ideas, grains of salt, tying it all together. How to give a speech. Tell you what I'm going to talk about, and then tell you what I talked about. I guess that's the rule on how you give a speech, but rambles don't always work that way. But I guess I'm stuck in speech mode. Oh, my brain is fried. Alright, so I got lucky. It looked like it was going to rain again on this hike up to Wi-Fi. I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to hike back, and I'm going to cook some dinner. Yes, I am. And there's a very good chance at one point it'll be a YouTube video. Alright, everybody out there, I really hope you can get your own dreams going if you're not already on them. Hopefully there's some helpfulness in there. Whatever way you're thinking of doing it, you can make it work. Just use a little caution. That's the only thing. From a non-cautious person, use a little caution. Not caution, planning. Planning and preparation. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is important. Make knowledgeable decisions that you won't regret later. And be true to yourself. Be your own person. And while you're at it, have a great and wonderful day.